Hello everyone, welcome to the show. And the show name is Feminine Mistake. And today is our first episode where we are going to talk about the roles of a woman in a society and some related sensitive topics around it. And today I'm very happy because we have a very special guest here, which is Sean, who is going to talk about his perspective on today's topic.
Hi, hello, my name is Sean.
So Sean, do you know what topic are we going to discuss for today?
Yes, I do. Today we're going to talk about gender inequality.
Yes, gender inequality discrimination on the basis of sex or gender.
And it can come from any aspect of the society as well. For example, tradition, public expectation, or cultural value. It all, I don't want to say support, but definitely contribute to the idea of gender inequality.
Yeah, it is also oftentimes based on the notion in the society. Men and women are not treated equally. So I guess today I have very first question for you, which is, do you think that men and women are treated differently in this society?
I definitely think there is some discrepancy on how women and men being treated in the society. So I would say that definitely definitely happen a lot in our society.
So do you know that actually how people treated these two genders can even happen when it's not in a conscious decision?
Oh, really? Okay, in case the audience at home doesn't get the idea that what you're saying, can you give me an example of what unconscious decision?
Okay. Unconscious decisions such as the parents would like their daughter to react in a very particular ways, just that because the society have an image on what a girl should be. So even their parents does not really directly or purposely to educate their daughter to react girly, but still their daughter will grow up adhere to what the society vision of what a girl should be.
Oh, that's a very good example. What was it?
Okay, yeah, you do notice that girls in a very young age are very encouraged to wear pink color clothes, pink color dress, or even play with dolls. And you do notice that in the shopping mall, there's also like the girls section, right? There's also always pink color. So yeah, I think that's a good example for it, for how girls is being treated differently in this society.
Yeah, before going to our next segment, I actually have a question to ask you. Why you invite me to the show actually?
Okay, you do know that this show is talking about women's topic, right? Yeah, so as a woman host, I only talking about my vision on this type of topic. So I would like to invite you as a different gender to talk about your vision also.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is a good thing to have a different view on a show. Maybe I can share some perspective that you don't have. So I think this is a very good discussion premise for a show actually. So, and also discussion is basically what build our society. We're going to have discussion about stuff. Anything we have discussion about, we can improve, right? So if you find another person who have a different perspective and they invite on their show, I definitely think that it will be for the betterment of the show, you know. And also I feel like that, yeah, I can talk about more issues.
So we actually have prepared a video for this today's, which is going to talk about gender inequality in this society. And yeah, we are going to play it now and back to the studio and we'll discuss about it. And here we go.
Yeah, see you guys later.
Gender inequality doesn't make sense on any level. By marginalizing the rights of women, we deny ourselves the opportunity to lift millions of men, women and children out of poverty, not to mention the chance of a just and fair world. From birth, girls and boys, women and men are expected by society to play certain roles and behave in certain ways based on traditions, religion, and other beliefs. These behaviors are learned and shape the gender norms in a society. Unfortunately, in many countries, gender norms create disadvantages for women. Often, girls are not sent to school. When they become women, they then have limited ability to earn money or realize their potential. Rural women play a major role in agricultural development. However, in many developing countries, women cannot formally own land. Without land, they cannot get loans to invest in their farms or businesses. This also means they have no control over the use of land or the benefits that come from it. Men generally control the household decisions, like how to use the family's assets. These disadvantages are often reinforced by practices that limit women's access to services, like training. Cultural beliefs can also restrict women's opportunities, such as in parts of Zambia where women cannot paddle their boats as it is considered bad omen. The result of these issues? Women remain poor, and agricultural production cannot reach its potential, perpetuating poverty and hunger in the developing world. The social norms that limit women's opportunities need to be understood and then changed. By taking a gender transformative approach, we can influence social norms and bridge the gaps in access to resources and services between men and women in a lasting manner. Change is needed on many levels, and both men and women must be involved for it to happen. Research and development organizations need to invest in programs that promote gender equality alongside improving productivity and incomes. Policies need to be implemented that increase women's access to services and resources. Communities need to support women as farmers and as leaders. Increasing women's voice and agency is a valuable end in its own right. When development organizations, policies, and communities support the success of women, we have a chance to reduce extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity for girls and boys, women and men around the world.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
So hope you, the viewer, can actually get something out of the video. And I guess now everyone have the basic understanding on what gender inequality is in this society. So we can move on to the next question, which is, what kind of gender inequality is women facing in this society?
Okay, since that's the thing I'm talking about, since I obviously feel inadequate when talking about this topic alone for obvious reasons, I'm not a girl. So I'm going to ask you instead, do you have any experience of gender discrimination in the past?
Which kind, like the verbal kind and also the societal pressure kind of gender inequality? Because I do feel like for the verbal kind, yes, it is discouraging for a girl, but it is comparatively easier to overcome when it's come to compare with the entire society trying to put pressure on you to what, like, you need to act in a certain way. So, yeah.
Okay, why don't you share your experience on both ends?
Okay. Once I was walking on the Bukit Bintang streets, I was being catcalled with a random guy. And that time, I does not even wearing any revealing, and I was walking with a bunch of friends. But still, this guy decided to catcall me just because he thought he could. So it is a very traumatizing experience for me, and I could not even imagine what would happen to a girl when she's walking alone and just being catcalled with a random guy.
Yeah, I can't imagine what would someone feel if someone walking alone, let alone maybe with their friends, also in the street alone, and then someone decided to catcall people. Yeah, some people are weird like that.
Yeah. So as for the societal pressure on women, I was expected by certain relatives, especially the oldest one, to just find a rich man and get married. And I was even told that girls does not really need to study much as long as they are pretty and they are able to find a rich man and just, yeah, their life will be very successful. So the notion implies that girls are only useful for their looks. And what those relatives want is just living in a good life without much work. So I actually does not want that. I want to be like the woman Margaret Hamilton, which is the female software engineering, who code and also develop the flight controls for the Apollo 11 moon landing. So the society always perceive that even with educations, women would not amount to much. But the woman like Margaret Hamilton actually proved that the society is definitely wrong.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think many of my girl dash friends also tell me a lot, like when their relative have a few pint of drinks and get some sort of drugs, and then that actually will tell them straight to their face, maybe you don't need to further study anymore, you just go and find rich men and then just marry them. I think, yeah, it's very disheartening if you heard that from a relative, especially because it's someone that you know you cannot push them out of your life anyway. So I think it's very disheartening for someone who want to study, want to amount much in a society, want to contribute to a society as a human being, to just hear people to say that, oh, you don't need to do all this type of stuff, you can just go home and then tutor kids and then just cook stuff for your husband every single day. So I think it's bad.
Yeah.
So I think one of my friend actually tell me that the parents actually have double standard on people, because when he's talking to my friend who is a girl, he actually say that, oh, you can just stay home and then find a rich guy and then you can get married. But when he treated about his son, which is a male son, and then he just tell him to just go and get engineering degree, electrical degree, or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
or
you
even
can
like
definitely
study
see
overseas,
different.
right?
Yeah.
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 So that's the things that you mentioned. Gender inequality in the society will also leads to the one sex or gender to be routinely privileged or prioritized over another. It will like damage the types of opportunity that girls is going to get in any industry. So now we are going to show you another video which is related to the gender stereotypes, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Gabriella. This is me and I love being me. I love having short hair, wearing track pants and soccer jerseys, but most of all, playing soccer. Since I cut my hair short and wear boys' clothes, people often mistake me for a boy. They ask me, why did you cut your hair short? Or, you look like a boy now. It's these experiences that make me wonder why it's a concern of others. I remember a 7-year-old boy even asking his mom if I was still a girl now that my hair was short. Isn't it important whether I'm a girl or a boy? Why does it matter to you? Because it does not matter to me, my friends, or my family. My gender doesn't tell you anything about who I am as a person, and it shouldn't define who I am and who we are as people. Sometimes people judge me when I don't follow these gender stereotypes. I was amazed because I was treated differently when we went to places. For example, when we went to rent skis, I was being told to wait because it's Mädchen vor dem Jungs. Or at Burger King, I was automatically being given the boy's toy and my sister the girl's toy. Is this right? What are some gender stereotypes and where do they come from? I question why these stereotypes still exist in 2020. Most people expect boys to have short hair, play sports, wear sporty clothes, and be strong. Most people expect girls to have long hair, do gymnastics or dance, and wear the color pink or purple with dresses or skirts. Does this mean I'm not a girl because I don't follow these gender stereotypes? I remember when I was just 3 years old, everyone wanted to be fairies, princesses, or witches, and I wanted to be a Spider-Man, a firefighter, or a police officer. As soon as I could talk, I was telling my mom I didn't want the pink or purple dresses. I wanted the blue Spider-Man shoes, while all the others were choosing pink and purple shoes. So don't be afraid to be who you are, even if it goes against the gender stereotypes. I am a female, so I go into the girls' bathroom. In the bathroom, girls used to often stare at me and whisper to each other behind my back. And if they have the confidence enough, they tell me I'm in the wrong bathroom. So what bathroom am I supposed to go into? Because I shouldn't go in the boys' bathroom because the boys will say I should be in the girls' bathroom. So what should I do? At the beginning, this is quite difficult, but I adapted to it. How? I would wait for the bathroom to be empty for all the girls to be gone so that I wouldn't be stared at or whispered behind my back. Or if I just had no choice, I would just ignore them and continue love being me. I've been thinking about growing my hair long again. Why do I feel this way? Because I don't want people in my football tournaments always thinking they're a boy? Because I don't want people whispering about me? Because I don't want people judging how I dress? No, I don't care about all that. I want long hair because I can choose to have long hair, short hair, or a mohawk. I choose to be me, Gabriella Haug. So don't be who you're told to be. Be you. Thank you.
Welcome back everyone to Femin Beste. So I hope you all can get the message from the video that's trying to bring out. Yeah.
Welcome back. So why do you think a woman faces this type of gender inequality in the society?
Actually, I feel like some of the reason is because of our parents and also the older generations, because they give us the mindset and slowly everyone will thought that is true and just follow what they think a girl should be. So yeah, it is also something like racism, because these two topics, gender inequality and racism, have been closely linked together for a very long time. So it's very impossible to talk about gender inequality without talking about racism. So it affects what jobs the colors of women will get and how much they are paid. So the pay gaps between the white woman and also the colors of women actually continues the discrimination and also contributes to the gender inequality. Yeah, so I think gender inequality is not a modern problem, but rather a problem that has persisted for years. For example, the history of United States of America has been hundreds of years, because since the first president, which is the George Washington, until now the current president, none of them have been women. And before 1919 of America, female citizens did not even have the basic rights to actually vote for their leaders. So only it's after the amendments 19th at America that women officially have the rights to vote for the leader. So generally this problem persists is also due to the societal views on women is being weaker and also dumber than men. And for many generations that women have also been viewed as only useful for men to just bear offspring. And yeah, this thinking is actually carried on until now, the modern days. But yeah, I believe this mindset should not be exist, because women too can actually be very successful in the working industries. Like people like Theresa May has actually shown that the women have the rights and also the brains to build to lead the entire countries.
Okay, interesting. So, how much do you think the custom and tradition sort of like creating the notion that females should stay at home and tutor their kids instead of going out to find a job after their pregnancy?
I will definitely say a lot, because I feel like the systems have been in place for a very long time, and girls is always expected that to stay home, to do house chores, and all the things that you mentioned just now.
Okay, because the issue is quite sensitive, right? And I do feel like that some of our listeners to this conversation might feel like that we are trying to shame people who use this type of century-old custom of treating women like women must stay at home and tutor kids and all those stuff. This is not the intention at all of our show. We're not trying to shame anyone who uses a century-old custom. And I'm sure that if you look at the century-old custom, that's definitely a very good reason for it to exist in this world ever since the very beginning of humankind. So I do feel, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a good question to ask, that why is this century-old custom still in place? Like, we know that this is actually hurting other people chance to get jobs and jobs opportunity and all those stuff. So why are this century-old customs still in place? Is a good question to ask.
Yeah, correct. Because throughout multiple decades, more and more women have proven themselves to be a leader and have put themselves on a very high position, whether it's in the countries or the companies. And so obviously women can achieve the same thing as men, but these types of custom is still in place as a roadblock for us, in front of us women.
Yep, it is definitely a good question. Just as I've been on and on over and saying that this is definitely a question that's worth asking. Why shouldn't it be changed in order to favor a better system?
So now in next video we will show about the gender stereotypes.
And roll the video.
Yeah.
Dominant than women? Well, the answer is yes and no. Let me explain. Studies show that men trump women on virtually every measure of social dominance. Men have deeper and louder voices, they're more likely to assert their opinion in conversation, and more likely to interrupt, especially if the speaker is a woman. In a 2014 study, researchers found that out of 48 interruptions in conversations between 11 men and 11 women, 46 of those interruptions were by men. So clear differences. But those differences become a little blurry when men talk to other men and women talk to other women. Men are much less likely to interrupt other men, about as likely as women are to interrupt other women. This implies that while women are not as dominant as men, they're as likely to be dominant as men are. Okay, said another way, let's say you have 100 men in a room, and 25 of them are highly dominant, 50 of them are somewhat dominant, and the last 25 are not dominant at all or submissive. Well, these numbers would be pretty much the same if you had 100 women in a different room. 25 of them would be considered highly dominant for their gender. In mixed gender settings, men are more likely to be more dominant than women. True, but in same gender settings, the numbers are more similar. Women are almost as likely to display dominant open body language as men, to maintain direct eye contact, and to express emotion considered dominant for their gender. Further, dominant men and dominant women behave and make decisions in pretty much the same way whenever they face a challenge to their status or access to resources. These similarities between men and women can be explained by the normal genetic variation that exists amongst people. Some men are tall, and so are some women. Some men are dominant, and so are some women. On average, men are taller than women, but a woman is as likely to be considered tall for her gender as a man is to be considered tall for his. The differences in the higher propensity for men to be and seek dominance can be explained by two things: testosterone and culture. Testosterone is a hormone that's produced by both men and women by their adrenal glands and their sex organs. Its production is controlled by the brain. Ovaries and adrenal cortices, though, they only make very small amounts of the hormone. The Leydig cells of a man's testes pumps out 7 times more testosterone than the average woman makes, and even more than that in highly dominant men. Indeed, studies conducted since the 70s in species ranging from humans to rats to chickens show a clear link between testosterone levels and displays of dominant behavior. Men have a clear biological upper hand in this regard. Even the most dominant of women don't have nearly half as much testosterone circulating through their bloodstreams as the average man. This is partly what explains the stark gap between men and women on almost every measure of dominance. But culture plays a huge role in not only magnifying these differences and fueling the perceived dominance of men, but also establishing hierarchical systems that reciprocate a man's dominance, irrespective of the fact that men and women are equally likely to be dominant people. So take, for example, leadership positions. Kings, principals, heads of households, none of these things are written in a man's DNA, and none of them are natural or inherent to him. And women are not less capable or less successful when they hold these positions. But because of a man's higher propensity towards dominance, it makes him more likely to seek out such positions, which normalizes it for us. This, by virtue, also normalizes women in subordinate positions, whether or not they're truly submissive. And because this subordinate status for women is normalized, you get people saying things like this:
You have to learn how to submit.
Because it's normalized, men, women, entire societies are more likely to write and interpret Bible passages, Facebook posts, relationship advice, all to support the worldview that women are naturally more submissive, when, as we've seen, that's not the case. Another factor that muddies people's understanding of dominance is its existence on a spectrum. We like to think that people are either dominant or submissive. That's it. But that's not it. Some people are dominant and some people are less, and some people are submissive. To be less dominant is not the same thing as being submissive, nor should it systematically sanction your submission. To be less dominant is not the same thing as being submissive, nor should it systematically sanction your submission. Telling all women to submit to men is like telling all women to be shorter than men.
Can we not? Can we not do that?
So in sum, men are hardwired to be more dominant than women on average, but women are no more likely to be submissive than men are. Women conceding to secondary social status is a cultural construction, and while it does admittedly have biological underpinnings that lie in a man's testes, it's important that we understand the difference.
Wow, this video is so informative. And welcome back, everyone. So now, Sean,
Yes.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that women are the weaker sex?
Okay, I think on a physical standpoint, I think man is stronger than woman.
Well, I feel like it depends on who you compare it to. Because if you take an Olympic woman athlete and compare with the normal everyday people walking on the streets, and of course, the woman will be stronger than the man.
Wow, you're correct. Okay, you're correct in that case, but it still doesn't change that if you take one man and one woman on the street, just normal everyday street, you will definitely find that the man usually will be stronger than the woman, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay, mentally, I think it's about the same. Mentally, I think it's about the same. There's more and more example of women achieving a very high position in our industry.
Yes.
And so
yes.
it's hard to say that there's any difference between them, at least mentally.
Yes, I agree with that.
Also, I would say that being strong mentally is definitely more useful than strong physically. Because strong physically, yes, you can flex your muscle and such, but it doesn't have, when you come to a real world application, you can definitely find that strong mentally is definitely the needed more in the society, because it's directly correlated to how successful you're going to get inside of any industry at all.
Yeah, we are not in a dark age anymore because people before need to go out and hunt for their foods. So being physically fit and have it advantage. But in now the modern days, that's no longer useful as before.
Yeah, so if you are comparing a woman and man and to find out who is the weaker sex, right? For me, I don't really see woman is somehow weaker than man. So I want to ask you is that, do you think woman is stronger than man?
I do happen to know that women have higher pain tolerance than the men, but yeah, throw away that completely trivial facts. I don't see women is stronger than men, but I would say they are the same.
Yeah, it's about the same. I agree. So since we still have time to burn, actually, so I do want to ask your opinion on muscle. What about muscle?
Oh, muscle. Actually, yeah, I like muscle men because yeah, I like those men have the six packs and very muscular. Yeah, so for me, the opinions for muscle is actually something can make our appearance looks better, and because it makes our body shapes nicer.
So, like I want to ask you, if it's up to you, would you put a lot of muscle on yourself?
I don't think I would like to put a lot of muscle, like looks very muscular, but actually I would like to make myself looks fit and just to build some muscle if it's enough for me, and because it can make myself to look more confident.
Okay, let's move on to another point.
Okay, so yeah, let's end these topics now. So today we are actually discuss a lot of about gender inequality, and yeah.
And then we find out the challenge that women face in everyday society and societal expectation and pressure to look a certain way. And secondly, we talk about what's the reason behind women face this type of inequality, like how society view women generally is part of the problem itself. And finally?
Yeah, finally we come to our conclusion, at least in our opinion, that men and women are about the same.
Yeah, it's definitely about the same in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that is about our show for today, and I think goodbye everyone.
Goodbye everyone.